So, hello everyone, back again with me. Finally, I have the chance to take a video after a couple of months of hiatus. I believe that the last time I posted, it was back in February, if I'm not mistaken, for the IndiHome competition. And to be honest, I'm glad to be back because I finished my 8th semester. Right now, I have a little bit more time to do this kind of stuff. And hopefully I can be more consistent, at least a video a month. For this video, I would like to talk about a book that I've just recently finished, that is The Innocent by David Baldacci. The reason why I picked this book was mainly because I wanted to start something that's, not too difficult, not too confusing to read, and I decided to pick this up. And just for information, I've actually read 5 different series by David Baldacci. The Amos Dekker series, Atlee Pine series, John Puller, what is the other one? Oh, Aloysius Archer, and this one, Will Robie. But this one in particular got me pumped up because this one features an assassin, unlike the other ones that feature special agents, investigators, or detectives. So I was a little pumped to read this novel because I wanted to see something different from him. So you could say that I had a little bit of expectations going into this novel. So the question becomes, were those expectations met? Well, let's talk about it. But as an introduction, first, the novel basically follows an assassin, Will Robie, who is hired by US government when it comes to dealing with problematic people. Of course, he goes there, he finds the target, and he assassinates them. But one day he receives an unusual mission, and as he arrives at the location and he finds out what is his mission and whom he has to kill, he decided not to pull the trigger. But unfortunately, his kindness leads him to be hunted down by his employers, and right now his life is in danger. Okay, so maybe I'll start first with the good ones. First of all, The Innocent by David Baldacci is a thriller. So, as a thriller, did it thrill me? It did, and I quite enjoyed it. Actually, especially because this is also action-packed, so it did not drag for me. There were a couple of moments where our main character kind of stopped for a while, talked to other characters, convey some information here and there, but they never slowed to a crawl. So the story just escalates, more and more and more and more from the very beginning till the very end. In addition to that, this is not only a thriller that is action-packed, it also has a mystery. Interestingly, this novel kind of presents 2 mysteries at the same time, and these 2 mysteries seem to be unrelated at first, but I won't spoil what's going to happen next. And this kind of creates a little bit of tension for our main character, Will Robie, because he has to juggle, back and forth between that mission and this mission. After this one is done, he has to go back to that one again. So he's always on the move, and he never spends a day doing nothing because essentially he has 2 problems to tackle. And in addition to that, the mystery also involves some betrayal. Again, not going to spoil it, but I think it has a little bit more tension because now every time he tries to make a decision, he has to be careful, like, okay, are you going to betray me? Are you going to stab me in the back? So it creates a little bit of tension every time he makes a decision to communicate with someone. There is also an unexpected partnership between Will Robie and someone. Again, the synopsis doesn't mention this particular partnership, that's why I don't want to spoil it. But this partnership between Will Robie and this one other person, I found it to be enjoyable. I think the dynamic between the duo really worked well for me. Both of them, although Will Robie is definitely the much more experienced person here, the other is also intelligent and is proven to be helpful quite a number of times. So, in my opinion, they make a great teamwork. By the end of this novel, there is a hint that the other character, the partner, is not going to make a direct comeback in the second novel, The Hit. But I do hope that in the future, they're going to work together again because I really love the friendship and the teamwork between both of them in this novel. Oh yeah, I also like the character development because Will Robie, our main character, is an assassin, so his life is unusual. So this makes him isolated. He has his own world, and therefore he has kind of this internal conflict within himself whenever he tries to establish a relationship with someone. I found that particular problem to be interesting, and his character arc in this novel and the way it ends, I think it fit well with his character. So I can't really wait to see what he's going to do in the next novel. The next thing that I like about this book is the fact that the victims apparently mostly are poor or in terrible conditions, and I did a little bit of research, and apparently back in 2012 there was a recession in America and some people lost their job. So I kind of like it when an author could bring, you know, a real life problem into the story. And since most of the characters here, the side characters and the victims at least, are innocent people, their violent deaths make it more saddening. And yes, this novel apparently is quite violent. Not the most violent book I've ever read, but if you are not one of those people who, you know, love watching violent movies or read violent novels, this might make you feel uncomfortable. The book also shows a little bit of the horror of war, because again, how does this relate to the book? Well, you have to read it. The book kind of shows how, you know, soldiers, you know, they go to the war and then they go back to their hometown. People regard them as heroes, but most of the time when they return to their, you know, country and to their city, they don't feel heroic. Sometimes, you know, they have to suffer from traumas, illnesses. It's not easy for them to continue on living after that period of war. And this book tackles that topic, not that deep in my opinion, but fair enough. So as far as I'm concerned, those are the things that I truly enjoy from reading this novel. Now, let's move on to the, I would say, the downfall. Not that terrible, these things that I'm about to mention, the negative things about this book, the cons, they're not that terrible, but they still did kind of disappoint me in a way. So first, I'm going to talk about the mystery aspect of this novel. The mystery, I enjoyed the mystery, although the revelation by the end of it did not really blow me away. I wasn't like wowed or taken aback. I did not see it coming. Well, I did see it. But the problem is that the mystery in this novel seems to overshadow Will Robie's role as an assassin. I mean, think about it. An assassin needs a target to assassinate so that assassination can take place. But what happened if you put the target in the shadow or in the dark? Well, there's no one to assassinate, and therefore the assassination aspect of the story is not there. Right? I mean, there are a couple, I don't want to mention them, but only within the first 100 pages of the book. After that 100 pages, the story mostly revolves around the mystery. And I'm not trying to say that he's not an assassin in this novel. He is still an assassin and he uses his skills as an assassin. But most of the time, his skills are used mostly for defensive purposes rather than for offense, you know. So at first, I thought I would get like John Wick type of read with a little bit of mystery maybe. But no, it felt to me like I was reading an investigator rather than an assassin. Again, I enjoyed the mystery, but I've read novels about investigators before. And I mean, John Puller, the one that I mentioned earlier, another series by David Baldacci, also is an investigator. My expectation there regarding the assassination here and then the assassin's aspect of this novel, we're not mad. I enjoy it, but still. And the next point that I would like to talk about is the language. Again, this is not necessarily a problem of mine, but the novel has that kind of action type of dialogue, you know, like, sir, we have a problem, or, oh my God, this can go a lot worse than I thought it would. We need to find out exactly who it is, and I promise you, I'm going to find them. You know, those kind of cheesy action dialogues, again, did not really bother me, but I could see some people being a bit uncomfortable with that. And if you don't like that kind of dialogue, I'm sorry to say, but there are a lot of them here. But if you just want to be thrilled, if you enjoy a mystery, I think this book is okay. Again, it did not really matter to me, but I just feel like I have to address it in case some of you feel uncomfortable, you know, whenever you hear those kind of cheesy dialogues. The next part is related to the mystery. I cannot dive into that aspect without potentially spoiling the story. So therefore, before I go to that part, I would like to give the book's rating first. Then, if you want to stay and watch that negative point, please, you're welcome. For my final rating, this book is 4 out of 5. I found it enjoyable, acceptable, and you know, although it did not meet my expectations, I was not really bothered by it. I still had a good time with it. And do I recommend it? Sure, if you like a mystery, a thriller, and you want to have a good time, I think this book is a good choice. Now, onto the mystery problem. So, the book Innocent published in April 2012, and in the same year, David Baldacci also published another book, and that was The Forgotten. While I was reading this book, I noticed that there was a similarity between both. Again, one might say that The Forgotten, since it was released later on in that year, should be the one who copied this. But it doesn't really matter. I think if I had read the other, this one first and The Forgotten by David Baldacci, I would have still noticed this similarity because it's just that obvious. So the similarity that I'm talking about is that there are two side characters who are attracted to our main character. And by the end of the novel, it turns out that one of them is actually a terrible person. Now, here's the thing. Although it's not entirely similar, in this novel, the same thing also happens. There are two side characters who happen to like our character, and in the end, one of them is shown to be a evil person. I was a little bit disappointed because once I realized the pattern, I really hoped that I was proven wrong, but unfortunately I was right. Again, it's not necessarily the book's fault because the book, how do I say it? The book shows this person fair enough, so it hints, but it also has the guts to show the private life of this person, which might make us doubt our, you know, our judgment towards this person. Again, it's not necessarily the book's fault, but kind of killed the mystery for me, at least in a way. It did not really hurt the reading experience because I realized it like halfway through the novel, but still it just took a little bit of fun that I would have had I not seen that coming. I guess you could say that that's like the problem, you know, if you write books a little bit too quickly, because David Baldacci is also well known for how prolific he is. Maybe not as prolific as Stephen King, but sometimes he can put up to 3 novels a year, and sometimes that could be the problem. You know, you unconsciously you might write something similar because you just have a little bit of time to really think through about your next novel. But hey, still, this book was a great read. I did enjoy it, and like I mentioned earlier, I still recommend it, especially if you want to read a thriller or mystery novel, or one that is quite action-packed as well. I believe that you can still have a good time reading this one. So yeah, I don't know, is this video short or long because I cannot see it, but hopefully it's not too long, but it's not too short. And I'm sorry if this is a bit awkward or maybe a bit unusual because I'm still trying to gain my footing here. But thank you for staying, and that's all from me. Thank you, and see you in the next video.